Yeah, all right, everybody, we're live, man, back on the NFC North Roundtable. That took a second. There was a delay there. But we're live, and we're here for an off-season preview. I guess it's an off-season preview. We're just going to talk through kind of our plans for the off-season. Right? I thought we could hit on a couple little things briefly. Free agency, coaching changes, that's for Nick specifically. Draft a little bit, kind of needs, where everybody's at as we head into the off-season, as we get rolling there. But we do have one more week of football, and that's where we got to give our shot to BetUS, man, because if you use code YouTube150, you get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit, up to $2,000. They have the odds. We're right down the middle, man. -1. And now we're gonna do our picks a little bit later this week. But we can always say an early lean. You know, Matt had a sound effect. So what's your early lean,
KC.
Bass?
KC.
Okay.
KC.
Are you serious?
Oh, 100%. I sold my soul. KC.
Man, yeah, I just can't do it. I'll lose money just picking Philly. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not going to that side. But, yeah, I mean, if y'all want to get on the action, man, go over to BetUS. Use that code YouTube150. Should be in the description. And then also, I got to find the link for it. I should have the link for it. I'll find it as we get going here. But, essentially, there's a Discord that we're starting for the NFC North. Oh, yeah, it's right here at the top. So, at the top of your screen is a Discord. The first 250 people, they told me get in for free. So, I don't know how it's going to work after that, but I'm assuming you're going to have to pay something to get in. So, if you want to get in, join in now. Before we hit that limit, and then you can't get in for free. It's at the top. It'll be there the whole time, and we'll shout that out a little bit later. All right, man. Hey, before we get into it, Bass, how you doing, man? It feels like it's been a little bit since we've done a show.
I'm good, man. All season's here. Starting to dive down into that draft content. You guys obviously at the Senior Bowl. That was awesome. I saw you out there. All the old roundtable sports out there. I definitely seemed like a good time. But salary cap, all that fun in between. But how you guys doing?
Mumbar, how you doing?
Same thing, man. Mock drafts and free agency dreams, baby. We all want Trey Smith. We all want all the best of the best. This is the best time of the year, the next couple months. I see Nick looking like, hey, you can't have my Trey Smith. Hey, we're getting him, man. We're getting him.
You can see it in his background now. You can see it through the reflection.
He's looking
at want to go to Chicago, man. You guys can throw as much money as you want at him. You don't want to go there.
Mr. One Bar, if you think you're going to get Trey Smith, it's going to go down. You're going to be a big loser. You're not going to get Trey Smith from me. No, all things considered, happy to hear that he's linked to the Chicago Bears. But, dude, I'm just pumped about this coaching staff because when Eric Bieniemy is your running backs coach, two-time offensive coordinator, Super Bowl champion, I think Ben Johnson's been doing a pretty darn good job. And also, Dion, I know you don't like to hear it, but, David Montgomery was pretty upset that Ben Johnson was gone. A couple of the other guys, Jared Goff had a pretty high praise for him yesterday, saying he helped practically save his career. So I'm feeling very good about this Bears staff right now. But this offseason has been very, very fast and very aggressive so far. We're not even past the Super Bowl yet.
So are you saying, Nick, you think Caleb, they need to save his career right now? Are you concerned a little bit?
No. So, kind of – fuck. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but, Ben Johnson was able to do that with Jared Goff. And a lot of people have been saying, Caleb's still, a cub or a puppy, whatever you want to call it. He's still got a lot of time. And after one season of breaking, well, it's not a high bar, but breaking almost every single Bears rookie franchise quarterback record, along with breaking a few actual franchise quarterback records, there's a lot of hope for him. And just what we're doing and, some of the players have already been linked to the Bears. It's exciting because of Ben Johnson. So he's doing a good job building a new culture here.
Nick, I'll start with you because I know you got a lot of coaching stuff going on. You guys are making tons of moves. And I think last time we were on here, I know you guys took Antoine Randall. I think that was after last time we were on here. Oh, my mic's quiet. I'll turn that up. But Antoine Randall, I know, is over there. What other coaching staff changes have happened that we need to know about?
So we brought in Richard Smith, former linebackers coach for Max Crosby, Von Miller, worked with Dennis Allen over a few different teams. On top of it, too, he's had John Benson from the late 2000s. He has developed a ton of different linebackers. So he comes to Chicago as a linebackers coach, which honestly is one of my favorite assistant coaching signings because of the fact that we have a young linebacker crew, a lot of opportunity there. But then on top of it, Antoine Randall L coming as our assistant head coach and wide receivers coach brings a lot of energy, something that the Bears sideline missed a ton of this past year. And then Dennis Allen coming in as a DC. He's practically a head coach of the defense. He said, 2 opportunities to be a head coach, failed at both of them. Some guys are just better off being coordinators in this league, like Eberflus going over to Dallas for that. Good for him. Wish him the absolute best, but not really. But at the same time, Like, he put together a juggernaut staff, and Dennis Allen also having head coaching experience, at least from a leadership perspective, is going to help Ben Johnson. But Ben Johnson's already been talking to the guys. DJ Moore has been he's been a great hire. He's someone everyone wanted. But I'm really liking the staff so far. And then Baz, Al Harris being our DB coach.
Dude, I hate it.
I thought that was kind of sick.
I've wanted Al Harris on this coaching staff for a long, long time. It seemed like when he was on Dallas, it's kind of like, okay, he's stuck there. Like, that's where he's going to be. He's with Big Mike. Like, that's his trajectory to maybe become a DC there. And man, he's a good coach. Like, I wanted Al Harris on this coaching staff. So that one I got jealous.
Hear me out real quick. The NFL script. Al Harris is going to be the pass game coordinator for the Bears. And then he's going to go be your guy's DC in a couple of years. Guarantee it. It'll be a full circle. And then that'll be like the Caleb, like, taking down his old – he knows this pass game. Like, I don't know. I think it'll be a good story. I think he's going to get the bump up because he's been bumping up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I love that he came in his first day as coach, sent Tyreek Stevenson to DB camp. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. Way to take
Please.
Way to
Where he
take
should
it.
go.
Yeah, well, he should go to camp for a lot of other things. But anyway, things. Dion, answer your question. This is the happiest you guys have seen me in about 6 months, so I'm doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, basketball guys being a hater. You know what I mean? You live
Dion, your mic's clipping, by the way. I think it's like.
I don't think you should have adjusted it. It was fine before.
I jacked it up. No, that's
it's
crazy.
it's clipping. It might be. It sounds like an input issue.
Here, while you're fixing that, Dion, I'll handle things real quick because I'm at the top with you because I'm the favorite all-time off-season team in the world. We get hyped up every single year.
Every year.
One bar. How are we feeling? Is Aaron Jones coming back to you guys, or what are you guys doing over there?
Aaron Jones, we'll see what he wants. I mean, he's showing a lot of love for the Vikings. He said he wants to finish his career here. Like, we'll see. We'll see what his asking price is. I mean, I loved Aaron Jones. I thought he did great. I thought he did just fine. Exceeded expectations. Had his best rushing yards of his career. And he's still got some left in the tank. It all comes down to the asking price. If he wants to come back for like $5 million, sure, why not? The only other thing about that is this draft class is loaded with running backs, and we don't have a ton of draft capital. So I would be fine bringing him back and maybe getting a guy in the later rounds to see what we got there. But I think he'll come back. I think they like him. I think he'll come back.
And Baz, coming from you real quick, who is the number one guy that you guys have to re-sign this offseason?
Oh, man. It's actually, there's not that many free agents, surprisingly. This year's pretty tame for the Green Bay Packers. I guess their biggest free agent is Josh Myers, which isn't even a guy that a lot of people want back at center. He's a solid center, but other than that, there's really not that many free agents. Eric Stokes is a free agent. I don't think they should bring him back. Eric Wilson's a free agent, but he's, depth linebacker, special teamer. They'll probably bring him back. TJ Slayton's a guy that's kind of underrated where it's like, okay, you probably want to bring him back. Other than that, a lot of exclusive rights free agents, which, as you guys know, are easy add backs for like $1 million minimum contract, right? A lot of guys there. It's a very tame offseason in terms of free agents. So that's a good thing because the Packers have some cap space, so we can actually start looking out maybe at other players bringing some guys in.
So, question for you, because this just came out of Radio Row today, is that Josh Jacobs came out and said that you guys don't have a legit wide receiver one.
I saw that.
And how do you feel about that comment? Because that was, and also all your wide receivers were like taking shots at
I saw Tay Wicks put like a quote tweet and he's like laughing about it, and then someone like roasted him and they're like, well, dude, you had like 8 drops on 78 targets, yada yada yada, right? So like, listen, if you were to do that before the season, I would be like, I don't really agree with that. But here's the thing: we went into 2024 with a lot of talent at the wide receiver group, and we had to see these players what they could become in 2024. And unfortunately, it seemed like we didn't have a true number one in 2024. I don't mind Jacobs saying it. I feel like it'd be better if he didn't go off and say something like that, but I don't mind him saying that. I don't think it's discrediting any of our guys. I just think us losing Watson with an ACL, maybe that's kind of more so what he meant by that. But I agree with it at this point. After what we saw in 2024, I do think the Packers have to go out and get like a true number one guy. It seems like we're watching back some of the film, and again, you don't know the exact play calls, but it seems like a lot of the time receivers may be running the wrong depth or the wrong routes, and it's kind of wrecking our offense a little bit. So I think they should go out and get a true number one wide receiver. Should Jacobs probably have not said that? Probably, but I think he's right. I honestly think he's right.
Do you think that the Packers would go out and get like a T. Higgins or a Keenan Allen or someone along those lines? Or
Don't try to throw Keenan in there.
Hey, wait, I'm just trying to start a conversation over here, Baz. Like there is a lot of
trying to throw Keenan Allen into the team.
He probably would be your number one. He probably would be your number one.
Number one in I don't know.
Veteran status, but no.
Number one in weight. I don't know, dude.
That's crazy.
And Dion, it sounds like your mic's working again, but I'll throw the last question over to you before you go back to being host. Is that I'm looking over at the cap space on the Lions, and they have over $69 million in cap. They're fourth in the league at the moment, one ahead of the Bears. But you guys have a lot of guys to re-sign. Are you worried about what you guys are going to do, or do you guys think you're going to be more aggressive in free agency for one more year?
Yeah, Nick, what are you looking at for the cap space there?
I don't see 69 either.
Like, we're doing pretty darn well. We must have made a move.
It was on over the cap when I checked. What was it? 2 days ago?
2 years ago?
Hey, I was about to say we just made something happen.
Yeah. Well, okay. So never mind. It looks like you don't have that cap space.
Dude, real quick.
Listen,
I'll touch up on this because.
Oh, wait. Oh, you guys. Oh, you're 46 and a half. 46
right now,
and a half.
He's learning it live. This is live reaction for.
Oh, shoot. Well, wait. Hang on. The Bears were at 60. Dude, I hate over the cap sometimes.
Why? It's great.
No, because last week. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna shut up now. So
Nick's night's ruined.
I'm rattled because I literally just dropped a video saying that the Bears had 64 million. Oh man, that's not good. Anyway, Dion, we heard you get a couple text messages, but it sounds like you're getting some inside sources. Any inside sources from the Lions of who you're going to sign this offseason?
No, I have actually none. Just about like, show that Discord thing. No, it's look, man, for me, I think it's like you said, we got a lot of guys to re-sign, but the weird thing, we only got a few of those, like the few major pieces. I think Zadarius Smith is going to be super interesting just because like he's not expensive, but he's in a weird spot. Like he's in a very weird spot with this deal where it's like, okay, we could just kind of get off of everything now, save money this year and next year, or we keep him and then we have to deal with this year, which is a fine cap number. But the problem is next year there's a whole bunch of just dead money that's just sitting there over $5 million. So my assumption is that if they're going to keep him, they're going to give him a new contract. And based on what he said earlier, I think he wants to be here. He sounds like he wants to be here, so I don't think he's going to be looking for like multiple years of guarantees. I think the Lions will try to make it short term, keep him around. And I think they should. I think they absolutely should try to keep him around. I think for our team, he's a very good pass rusher. Like run defense is kind of meh, but for what we need and what we have opposite of Hutchinson, I want to see those two play together at some point. Like I just want to see that happen once. And I think that if we, based on what the Lions have usually done, like if they don't get Levi back, or even if they do, I mean, there's going to be a point there where you hit the draft and you almost feel like you're kind of pigeonholed into, man, we might have to draft an edge rusher really high. And I just don't think the Lions are going to want to be in that spot. I think Zadarius adds flexibility. So I think he's kind of the key of this. Then the other two big ones would be Carlton Davis is set to be a free agent. That's huge, but at least we have depth there. So even if he wasn't brought back, I think we'd be okay. But it's Levi and it's Derek Barnes because they're kind of two unique positions. They play all across the board. But yeah, I think it's what you said, Nick. I mean, I feel pretty good about what we have. Like, I think we could play a game with what we have right now and we'd be fine. But it's just about re-signing our guys. And then I don't know how active they're actually going to be during free agency. Like, I don't know if they're going to make a lot of big deals. I think they'll have a couple of little mid-tier signings and that'll be about it. It's kind of my assumption.
Well, talking about the offseason and guys that you're going to bring back, half your coaching staff is gone now. So how do you think the Lions are going to handle that one?
Man, you know what? I think it's going to be real interesting, man, because like I don't think a ton's going to change with Kelvin Shepherd. I don't think a ton's going to change with him becoming the defensive coordinator. I think there's good to that because there's a lot of like, okay, he learned with Glenn. He's going to carry the kind of the torch of who we've been, which I think is fantastic. But I'll be honest, like it's I don't want to say it's a concern, but I do think that like Aaron Glenn would have games where I walked away like, yeah, that probably wasn't the best decisions. Now, fairness, that probably happens to every team and every fan's, their coaching staff. But there were definitely games where I was like, yeah, we probably didn't have a fantastic plan for them. Washington, I thought for sure to end the season. But I thought that happened a few times. And I think with Kelvin Shepherd, we may get those same bumps. So I'm just hoping that when he steps in, it'll be picking up kind of like where Aaron Glenn left off, and he'll continue that process. Like, all right, let's keep like adding new things to what we're doing. Let's add wrinkles to what we do. Let's find ways to kind of innovate beyond what we are now. And my hope is that Kelvin Shepard, who's one of the only guys who are here for every single year within the regime, is that he'll be able to pick up right where Aaron Glenn left off. Offensively is going to be the most interesting thing because it's just like, I don't know. Is the same creativity going to be there? We're going to have the trick plays. Like, I think the standard look of the offense is going to be the same. I think it's going to be very similar. We'll probably have it's going to be the same approach, but it's just, I don't want to lose that creativity. As a fan, like, I get people get on it, like, oh, you're doing too many trick plays. I love it. Like, I love it, man. I don't want that stuff to go away. I don't want the 4th down aggression to go away. I don't want the 3rd down and 8 running the football for some reason, but it works to go away. I want that stuff to continue. So I'm just hoping that he'll keep those things implemented, because I think stylistically it'll fit for Dan Campbell's vision and, for what Ben Johnson did with the passing game. I think that'll look similar.
For sure.
Dion,
I'll let you take over hosting.
Yeah.
Again.
Let me ask Dion quick. How much did the Antoine Randall hurt more than the Ben Johnson? I mean, that dude was such.
No.
Really? I mean,
Hey, Chicago native, baby. He's home.
As a Vikings fan, watching him on the sideline, like, he was always so. I'm like, you could just. It seemed like the players loved the dude, and like that had to hurt a little bit.
I mean, like, it didn't feel great, especially because he went to Chicago. Like, when I saw this, I was like, oh, of course he went to Chicago.
They're leaving you. They're following him. Why are they doing that?
Well, and that's, I don't know. It's a tough spot because, like, he gets the assistant head coach job now, he's listed as like your assistant head coach. We couldn't really do that here because we already had a guy that we brought in. It's like that was team gets stuck in that weird spot. So it stunk that he went there specifically. That's what made it rough. But no, like, in comparison to Ben, I'll be honest, there is no comparison. Like, losing Ben was a heartbreaker just because of what the offense has looked like. It's been so unique. And it's like what they point out with, like, the golf thing. Like, it really was. It was like a fresh start for two guys. Like, let's just see what this looks like when they put it together. But I will give Antoine Randall credit, though, because Jamison Williams came a long way. With where he started to where he is now, he came a long way. And if there's a positional coach, give it to the receiver positional coach. He's definitely helped him specifically come a long way. And this past year, we got to a point, I think we had 5 drop passes all season. Like, the next was like 17. It's crazy. This receiving core went a long way, man. I mean, it was one of the best against man coverage. A couple of years ago, it was like, yo, we need dudes that can get open. So it's crazy the steps they took. I mean, yeah, I miss him, but not like Ben Johnson. I got to be honest with him, boy. Not like Ben.
I'll take care of him. Don't worry. But
I know.
Dion,
he's in a good spot.
It's your show again.
Yeah, he's got some talent to work with. Well, I mean, look, I don't think one bar. Have you guys had any coaching changes? I feel like I haven't seen anything outside of, like, Brian Flores not leaving.
No, we had this is best case scenario. Everybody's coming back. A lot of people were interviewing. You can say, hey, they must suck ass. Nobody hired them. But, like, I mean, Josh McCown, Flores, Grant Udinsky, our assistant quarterback. Like, everybody was interviewing, and we got them all back. So it's a huge win. I'm not going to get used to this because I think the next cycle. Maybe not Flores, but there's some guys like the Josh McCowns. He's going to be a coach in this league. It's only a matter of time. Even Keenan McCardle, wide receiver coach. We got a lot of players here or coaches. And Durante Jones was interviewing for a lot of defensive coordinator positions. I think he even did Chicago, maybe. I don't even know. But he was all over the place. But no, we got the whole coaching staff coming back, and it makes me very happy.
We have some changes. We have we lost Anthony Campanile, which was our linebacker coach we brought in last season from Miami. The guy Jeff Hafley brought in. This guy brought, like, the tenacity, the ferociousness to our linebacker. I remember watching, like, training camp videos. He's screaming at the linebackers, like, being aggressive, right? And our linebackers, in my opinion, took a step up. Quay Walker, kind of struggled at the beginning of the year, but got better. Obviously, drafting a guy like Edgerrin Cooper, kind of getting a home run there helps. But he was a guy that I thought down the line, if Hafley ended up getting a coaching job, say in a couple of years, Campanile would be the guy to take over. So the Jags poached him and Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins was our defensive quality control coach. He used to be a defensive back coach at Oregon State, and was one of the guys I had circled, because they drafted Katana Ladapo, who came from Oregon State, and that was the reason why I linked it with the Packers. So it sucks we lost 2 defensive coaches there to the Jags, to the Mr. Duval over there. I don't know what they're building over there, but they took a couple of our coaches. We promoted Sean Duggan to linebacker coach for the Packers. He was our defensive assistant last year, which makes sense because he coached with Hafley at Boston College, was a linebackers coach at Boston College with Hafley, and was a guy he brought on last year. So some addition from within or promotion from within. We promoted Sean Mannion, one bar, him, GOAT, to our quarterback coach. after Tom Clements retired. So we'll see how he can follow his footsteps, which are going to be, massive shoes to fill. Tom Clements, in my opinion, is like the greatest quarterback coach of all time. So Sean Mannion, will see what he's got. Other than that, I think Stenovich interviewed with the Texans. I kind of wish they hired him because I'm not huge on Stenovich at OC. I think he's kind of ran his course, but I guess he's going to stay here for at least another year. But there actually has been a decent amount of coaching. Not Bears level, right? We're not Bears level here in the offseason, but there's been a little bit of moves here in Green Bay.
Nick, who is do you know who your quarterback coach is? You guys have one right now?
JT Barrett. We took him from Detroit.
That's crazy.
Oh, dang. I didn't even know that happened. I asked that. It looked crazy now. Are you serious?
Everybody.
Yeah, so we got JT Barrett from Detroit, Antoine Randall L, and then I think those are the only two coaches we took from Detroit. And then we brought in, was it Maurice Alexander Jr. On a futures contract from Detroit?
Yeah.
So those are the guys that have come over from Detroit. I don't think it's going to get any deeper than that because a lot of the guys we hired, we hired a really good offensive line coach in Dan Rauscher, who has developed 5 Pro Bowlers with the Saints while he was with them, worked with Dennis Allen. And ironically, Dennis Allen fired him, but then Dennis Allen vouched for him to come to Chicago. So it was just it was an interesting situation. And then here's a fun fact is that we fired our linebackers coach and then we hired his dad to be our new linebackers coach.
That's crazy.
It's awkward.
I mean, Ben Johnson's like, not my problem. So
it is awkward, bro. No, look, man, I didn't even know you guys hired JT Barrett. See, he was a guy that Ben pointed out for all the trick plays, so it makes a ton of sense. That kind of stinks a little bit. Like, I'm actually upset that I asked you that question. I wish I would have knew that coming in so I could have been prepared for that, but I'm not prepared at all. Okay, so go to the free agency real quick here, because I know Nick was asking some free agency questions, but I had a couple specific ones I want to ask. And Bass, I want to start with you. Rasul Douglas set to be a free agent. Is there interest?
For me, no. I think there's a lot of other cornerbacks that I think I'd rather have. DJ Reed's a guy I've circled from the Jets. I just feel like he just fits so well into what we want on this defense. One bar, if you guys for some stupid reason don't bring back Byron Murphy, he's another guy.
Damn it. Hands off. Hands off.
Mine. Paulson Adebo is a guy that's like, okay, if he can recover from that injury, well, he has a lot of potential there. The Saints aren't going to be able to bring him back. They have like negative $60 million. It's absolutely insane. Did a video breaking down their salary cap, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Do the Saints have a head coach yet still, or are they still vacant?
I don't even know. I honestly,
no one wants to go there.
Who knows what they're doing? I have no idea. It's bad. But Rasul, I mean, unless you're talking like a very cheap, like 1 year veteran deal, that's like, okay, it's just a filler to maybe let, first or second round pick kind of learn for the year, then sure. But I think there's like 3, 4, maybe even 5 other options I like over him.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought that, the ties were there. Rasul's a nice player. Okay. Minnesota, one bar. I think you touched on it a little bit, but for whatever reason, like you guys are both connected. You and Nick are both connected to the same offensive lineman. I guess you guys just both need offensive linemen, but the exact same guy because they're playing. But it's like, yo, Trey Smith, there's some competition. I mean, one more, you could talk about Trey Smith a little bit. He's projected to get paid a ton of money this offseason, but like, is there someone that we're overlooking on the offensive line that's available that you have your eyes on for free agency?
I mean, anybody that needs offensive line is going to be linked to Trey Smith. It's not just, I mean, it's going to be and I see the Bears, like when all is said and done, if I had to throw a bunch of money at where is he going to sign, I would say the Bears, just because they're going to throw so much money at him just so he comes to Chicago. Like they're going to have to overpay for him to go there. And that's not a slight to Nick. I just think that's how it's going to go down. But like, and I think they will get him, and he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid like what, $21 million? What the highest paid guard right now is like 21.
$22.5 million is his bottom.
He's gonna get a ton of money. Guards every year in the free agency, every year it's just like wow. Like when it comes to guards, it's like damn, I can't believe they paid him that much. Every year it just goes up and up and up. But we'll see. And there's a lot of good guards out there in free agency. It's not just him. I mean, Will Fries from the Colts. I mean, Becton from the Eagles. So there's some guys out there. So the way I look at it, it's like you can get Trey Smith or you can get 2 very solid guards. Like pick your poison. There's no wrong answer. Yeah. The Vikings need interior offensive line, and we'll see what happens. I mean, just knowing what Kwesi has done in the past, he's not a guy that just goes out there and just puts it all on one dude. He likes to spread it around and see who he can hit on. Like Andrew Van Ginkel is a great example. Like he likes to just play a little bit safer and go for the big return. We'll see. I mean, Trey Smith is a great thing to dream about. We'll see. He's going to get paid a ton. Baz, it's funny you mentioned Byron Murphy, because I've seen him linked to the Packers, and the Vikings and Packers have some similar needs. Like you look at the defensive line in the draft, you see all these mock drafts, you see the free agency, cornerback, defensive line. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, and you pick right before us. Hands off. Whenever I see Kenneth Grant or a cornerback go to the Packers right before us, it's just like, no. So it's going to be very, very frustrating.
Don't worry, we'll pick like a random guard. Don't worry.
God, you know what? I hope it's random. I hope it's not a good guard.
We'll pick like a tight end. We'll get like Harold Fannin in the first round for whatever reason.
You guys love your tight ends, man. You love them.
Hey, this is the year to love them. But maybe a trade then, one bar. You know what I mean? That sounds like you guys may have an in-division trade. That's picked up the last couple of years. Nick,
Dion, inter-division tight end trade.
Yeah, see, we made moves. We made moves to Packers, and I think it was Packers. Definitely with the Vikings. I don't know if it was Packers. I think it was Packers.
We moved with the Vikings too. I think for Watson. I think the Watson trade was with the Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings aren't scared of the trade in division, whether it works out or not. They ain't scared.
Bears are terrified of it.
But Nick, you pointed when the offensive guard. Now he's slipping my mind. When Becton was thrown out, so
I want him so bad, dude. That is like honestly. So hear me out. If we get Trey Smith, that is awesome. Like love that. That would be massive. But with the Bears checking over on the screen now, $64 million in cap. You put 22.5 right there. You're like, oh, there's a third of my cap gone for the season. And the last time we paid a top guard, Nate Davis, look how that turned out for us. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again. But Becton, I mean, like he's had 2 solid seasons out of his 5 years. 2 of them he spent on injured reserve because of his ACL. But he had a really decent year with the Eagles this past year. He was a top 10 guard, according to PFF. I mean, I would rather, if it came down to it and the Bears were like, okay, we need, because the Bears, Vikings, and Packers all need interior guys. Drew Dahlman, who's the best center in free agency, I want him bad time, even though he did have a really bad ankle injury this year. It kind of scares me a little bit. Like all these guards in free agency, the top 4 guards, all of them have had serious injuries or they're super old. Like the guy from Kansas City, not Kansas City, Detroit. Zettler.
Yeah.
Zettler's been linked to coming to the Bears because they want an older guy on the line to help teach the younger guys. Bears also have 4 top 100 picks at the moment. Ian Cunningham goes to the Jaguars. We get another top 100 pick from the NFL. So we can obviously address interior offensive linemen there. But, I mean, my top guys are obviously Trey Smith, Becton, Drew Dahlman. I like Khalil Mack potentially coming back. That's been linked to the Bears a few times. I think that'd be kind of sick. Don't want Ronnie Stanley. I think that guy is garbage. I don't know why everyone likes him. And then,
damn, what did he do to you?
Dude, he sucks. He gave up like 15 sacks this year. Braxton Jones gave up less than him. And I'm not going to go out and pay him like $15 million. If we get him, you guys know I'm going to make a video. We got Ronnie Stanley. Like, no.
Greatest O-line for the Bears ever.
Signing we could have ever had.
Real quick on Becton, real quick. Because it seems like it would be like a Bears thing, right? Like go out, pay a lot of money for Becton. Just had a great year with the Eagles. Do you not think it's because the rest of the Eagles line is so good, playing next to Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson? It's just like it kind of elevates.
I know.
I'm giving him credit. I'm giving him credit, right? The move to guard. He's like what, 6'8"? No one really thought that would work.
6'7", 360, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolute giant.
But do you think it's just because, like, I mean, playing next to those guys, like that O line, there's not a weak point, and if there was one, it might be him. You know what I mean?
I mean, like we brought in a guy. We had a guy like him last year, Matt Pryor, and it's just like because of the offense we were running, it didn't work out well. But with Ben Johnson's offense, I feel like Becton would actually do a pretty decent job in that. He's got to stay healthy. At the end of the day, if your offensive line can stay healthy, that's what's key. Yeah. You know, again, I really like Kevin Zettler because he can play center too, from what he did with the Giants. So you can flux him in kind of like Cody Whitehair when we had him. But a low-key signing I would love the Bears to get is a Lark Jackson from L.A. if he doesn't re-sign with them. He's 26, 6'6", 295 pounds, so he's a little lighter, but he has the reach. He's fast. He's reliable. That's someone that I would love the Bears to get at left tackle because you guys know how I feel about Braxton Jones. And also, we don't even know if Braxton Jones will be able to play next year. This is a really good free agency period for any team that needs anyone on both sides of the trenches. From a defensive line perspective, I'd rather address that in the draft because it sounds like the Bears, if they go out and get Trey Smith, they go out and get Drew Dahlman, your entire center to right side's fine. Then they'll go out and draft someone at left guard, and then either they'll keep Braxton Jones or they might draft a left tackle again. So there's a lot going on there, but I think the Bears are going to just go really heavy no matter what in the trenches, and then maybe pick up another DB or something because Jaquan Brisker can't stay healthy. So, and then we have a lot of cap casualty guys too. So if the Bears cut all their cap casualty guys, they get another $32 million in cap. So we'll see what ends up happening.
Nick, I want to touch on the draft. We don't have to go to specific prospects because I don't know how far anybody's into it. But just I feel like right now we're naming needs, right? We're all talking about our needs. But I'll start with you, Nick. What position, draft or free agency, but maybe more draft? Is there a spot that you think that maybe that's getting super overlooked? We're not talking about this as a need as Bears fans, but that could be the person that they go out and grab. So for example, I saw people talking about the Bears going to get a running back first. If Ashton Genty's available, they go and do that. I've seen things like that. So that's not considered the need, but it's we can get better there. And that was at one point that was a conversation. What spot would that be for the Bears?
Yeah, definitely running back would be a low-key sleeper pick. And then Eddie George, who interviewed for a head coaching job, admitted today while interviewing with one of the Bears' other YouTube channels is that the Bears actually talked to him in his interview. I probably wasn't supposed to say this, but the Bears are looking in on running backs right now. So I wouldn't be shocked because our first 4 picks is a first, 2 seconds, and then a third. I would not be shocked if Chicago ends up taking Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, big running back. Also that guy from Ohio State, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I apologize. But he was actually linked in the interview with Eddie George. So kind of some good news there. I think we do need a running back because we're definitely going to get rid of Travis Homer. He's a $2.1 million cap hit or cap casualty. So that saves some money right there. And you get a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round. The guy from Arizona State, Cam, Scatabo. Yeah, thank you. He is another guy that's on the Bears list. 5'11", 215, runs a 4.5, and he had 21 touchdowns this past year. Guys, I've been doing mock drafts for a minute. Yeah. All you guys got to enjoy the playoffs. So I know some of these guys. But, yeah, definitely running back. But the Bears are for sure going to be investing early in both sides of the trenches. And I really like Mike Green out of Marshall. I senior bowl legend, dude, but he'd be awesome to have on that defensive line if we don't get Mac.
Dude, that was the entire Senior Bowl experience. People showing me videos of Mike Green running over an offensive tackle. It's all right, I got it.
Oregon, Josh Connerly.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy got absolutely destroyed by Mike Green, dude.
It's man, I've seen this video so many times. But just as we're kind of going through this, man, everybody in the chat right now that wasn't here before, there is a link at the top. It should be pinned. I believe it's pinned right now, but it is at the very top at worst of the chat. You go there, you click that, you can join the NFC North Discord. First 250 people get in free, according to sources. After that, I don't know. You know what I mean? You might have to drop a little bling, you might have to drop a little don't know, something. I don't know, but I just know you get in free now. So join now if you want in on that for, I guess, conversations behind the scenes. I don't know what's going on, but it's there. The link's there, so click the link. It's a link. Why not click it? Hey, Bass, so kind of the same question for you, but I don't know, because I was thinking about this from the Packers' perspective, and I really wasn't, sure what position I'd go with there. I know receivers, all the conversation, defensive back, but I was what position? I thought linebacker. Could we see, a surprise linebacker that they're all right, let's put a linebacker next to the guy that took off last season? Again, name slipping my mind. But I was thinking linebacker. Is there a position, maybe it's not linebacker, that you're thinking of that we aren't talking about?
Now, I haven't been thinking of linebacker, but the fact that you say it just seems like something the Packers would do. Right. But they also have a lot of belief in Quay Walker. Adrian Cooper is who you're thinking of. Adrian Cooper, him and Quay. Obviously, we're running a 4-3, and in base you need a third guy. But generally speaking, Quay and Cooper are their guys there. I wouldn't put it past them at all. But I think there's other positions that are much heavier needs. In the trenches on the defense in terms of edge or defensive line, I'd say edge is more of a need there to pair Rashawn Gary with a guy, whether that's through the draft or free agency or trade, whatever. Cornerback is definitely the one I have circled the most right now for the draft, just because we don't know what's going to happen with Jair. Even if they keep him, I still think we have to address cornerback. And obviously, if a guy like Benjamin Morrison falls to right around the 20s mark, right? Trade, there's some injury concerns there, but hey, you got to go up and get that guy. Jahdae Barron, someone who's versatile. could play, big nickel or rotate them back if you need to. There's Trey Amos, Javon Ravel. There's a bunch of guys at corner. Azariah Thomas, I saw at the Senior Bowl. That guy's flying up boards, I believe, at corner from Florida State. So he's a guy that I think could fly up, and it's just like, okay, maybe that's a first round pick there. Other than that, like, you have edge, and I saw my buddy in the chat, Drew, JT, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name. The edge from Ohio State, is it Tuimoloau? Tuimoloau. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Almost did that there, but yeah, he's been messaging me highlights of that guy, and I've started to like him a little bit because it seems like kind of a sleeper pick. But edge is another one, man. Like, it's edge and corner for the Packers right now, in my opinion. But there's also like the chance that they could go out and get a wide receiver. We haven't done it since 2002, so I'm not going to hold my breath. I think there's a better chance the Packers maybe trading for receiver number one. Cooper Kupp's now on the market. I think that could be a pretty cheap guy you go out and get. Right. Yeah. That just kind of feels like a Packers move. Like, we give you a conditional fourth that can turn into a third or something. I don't know the value there. I don't know at all. Obviously there's Devontae Adams, there's DK Metcalf. There's actually a lot of guys that potentially could be traded for at wide receiver. So I feel like that could be the route they go. I think they'll still draft a receiver in the middle rounds, but I think early on, edge and corner, definitely their main circle one there.
I don't like that you brought up Kupp, because I'd rather not have to play him again. But because he went for 110 against us, he didn't do it against anybody else. But like, my thought, I think Cooper Kupp's going to be a day 3 pick swap. So like, I think someone's going to get it for like, I think so. I think someone's going to get it for like nothing.
I'm all on board, man. I think
it's just going to be the salary. It's like, what's that going to look like?
That's true.
So yeah, actually, I like that one. And I was also thinking quarterback. I'm like, well, the Packers, they'll grab a quarterback at some point. They just do that. Is that something you're considering too? No,
I'm not. No, not.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't mad at it when they drafted Jordan Love. I know a lot of Packers fans were up in arms, but I was like, you know what? It kind of makes sense with Rodgers on the back end. But now that I'm looking at it, I think you're right with Kupp. I didn't realize I wasn't thinking about the contract. So if we were to trade for him, his cap number this year would be $20 million. So
yeah. Yeah, it's
32 years old. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be like a late round pick. So I think it's still worth it. The Packers have the money. They have like $42 million in cap space this year. You need a number one, Cooper Kupp. Like, I just feel like I could see that guy in a Packers jersey. Like, I don't know. It just feels right. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah, my thought is Kupp's going to get traded for like nothing. Team will bring him in. Rams are going to eat. They already said that they'd be willing to eat some of the guarantees, and then someone's going to just give him a pay cut. It's like, that's how we're going to roll. That's my guess. I could be way off on that. One bar, like, because I'm asking everybody who got these draft class. I mean, if you got like someone that you got your eyes on early, like, definitely let me know. But you brought up interior defensive line. You brought up Kenneth Grant, and now as a Lions fan, I'm always like a big fan of Harrison on the interior. So I always like him on the inside. What's the need to pair him with somebody? Like, is that like a major need this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, right now, the run defense of the Vikings was actually very good this year, but they just don't have the dude. They don't have the disruptor up front to just absolutely make some noise so Gernard and Van Ginkel and Cashman can get after it. And they need that big boy, and Kenneth Grant is just such a monster. And honestly, I would be surprised if he's still on the board when the Vikings are there. I mean, he's all over the place. And it seems like those big guys that are athletic rise all the time. I mean, see Walter Nolan, another guy that's in the mix as far as one of the top defensive tackles. Kenneth Grant. So to me, when it comes to D-line, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, those are the big shiny toys there for the Vikings at 24. Again, I keep seeing those guys go right to the Packers right before the Vikings. So it's going to be I would hate nothing. I would hate it so damn bad just for how much I love these guys. So defensive line, after those guys, we'll see. But guard is always going to be a highly mocked player to the Vikings. And then also cornerback. And Baz, you're bringing, again, cornerback. You're bringing up these names that I just really, really like for the Vikings. The dude from Texas, Revel, Benjamin Morrison, the guy from Notre Dame. Like, I don't expect him to be there, but who knows, like with the injuries he's got. So cornerback, I think right now is probably the one that's on the lowest of the radar that the Vikings could actually go for in round one. And Barron from Texas, I think, is a guy that could definitely, he's 200 pounds, he's 5'11", dude can play all over the place. Big hitter. So I'm starting to warm up to him a little bit. Revel at that 6'3", 6'2". Damn, he's fun to watch. When you watch that guy, woo, Brian Flores loves his big defensive backs. He fits the mold. But when all is said and done, Vikings and Vikings fan, we want to trade back. We almost have to trade back. We have a first rounder, a third rounder, and 2 fifths. Trade back, still get. I mean, this defensive tackle class is very thick. Cornerback Revel, I mean, he's kind of all over the place as well. Maybe you sneak in the back of round 2 and get the dude from Texas or Revel. So trade back is kind of the number one thing, unless a guy falls in your lap like a Nolan or Grant. But it's trade back, trade back, trade back. If Vikings fans right now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, after being so aggressive, like the positions you're naming are just loaded, man. Like the interior defensive line, like you can just rattle off dudes that would be. They can all get pressure and they got a lot of size. Like this is a super unique draft there. But I think it's most teams fans base thinks they need those things, so it works out perfectly because everybody's gonna be fired up when we hit the draft this year, and it's gonna be complete opposite of last year. It was like pick 18 or something. You know, it was you guys. You guys finally took a defensive player, man. It was taking forever. So. Look, I mean, I think that's the gist of the offseason preview. The needs, that's where we're at with free agency. That's where we're at with coaching staff changes. Anything outside of that we haven't touched on that we should, keep an eye on as we kind of wrap this thing up and we head over, somewhere that I'm actually going to say out loud because I'm not supposed to say that, but we're head over there. Nick, you got anything? Or Bass, you got anything?
I'll do a quick, one of each quick answer, right?
Okay.
Garrett, would you trade for Myles Garrett if it was multiple first rounds? Go, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes. All right. Well, Lions
we out here making moves. That's what we doing. You know what I mean? We got some aggressiveness. What do you guys, Nick? Nick, why would you not trade for him?
You
guys got like 1,000.
We're a couple pieces away from being like, oh, Myles Garrett, perfect. That would put us over the top. No, like he's also. Here's the thing: I really like Myles Garrett. I think that he's a phenomenal football player. But we did that with Khalil Mack, and that set us back a couple years. So like, it's a win now move. But at the end of the day, like he's 29 years old. You're gonna owe him a ton of money. Like, no, I'm out. Okay. I can't believe I'm saying it, but no, I'm out. And just like that, I'm out.
I ruined the question, Bass. My bad. Was there more questions? I shouldn't have done that.
That was the only one I got.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I think we're out of here, man. Shout out to BetUS, YouTube 150 is a coach. Shout out to everybody that's joined. If you're in here right now, again, top of the chat right now, or it's pinned, you can click that. You can join the Discord. First 250 people get in. There's not 250 people in here, so you should be able to get in. Click that link, join in, and then make sure you don't miss out later on when that thing might close up a little bit. But we appreciate you guys stopping in. I don't know what the exact schedule is going to look like, but we'll get it rolled out to us, and we'll see what that's going to look like going forward. At the very least, so we're going to have updates through free agency, I'm sure. And then, of course, the mock drafts are on the way, which was like my favorite thing last year. We did the mock draft. That was super fun, so I'm fired up for that. All right, we'll see.
You couldn't answer name any of the people.
It was a disaster, but it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. All right, y'all, we're out of here. We'll see you guys a little bit later in the week. Check out 4 hour Super Bowl preview that nobody's looking forward to. We're out.